Hey guys, we just got back from Star Wars The Last Jedi!
And it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
And it's 4 o'clock in the morning, ambiguous. Not ambiguous, I'm delirious,
yeah.
Joe. It's too late, but we just have random Star Wars stuff with us. Yay! I saw it and I clapped! Red letter media. Okay, so... this is it was a long movie. We're talking 2 hours and 37, something like that. And it's a lot to digest. And I know a few other reviewers kind of didn't even give their ratings. They're going to wait till later. But we don't have that luxury. We can talk more about it in spoilers. This is going to be a non-spoiler review. So we're going to use very vague terms. We're going to talk about, the aspects that we like, dislike, direction, acting, and things like that, and story and plot line. So I want to address a few things up front. And one of the things is I was very worried that this film would just be Empire Strikes Back. I mean, Force Awakens has gotten a lot of criticism for being like A New Hope. So upon rewatching the movie, yes, it shares the same story beats and stuff, but there's some variation in here. This is not Empire Strikes Back. You could find similarities, but you could pretty much do that in any movie, really. So there's definitely similarities, but it does go in a completely new direction. And there are several twists and turns in here that will surprise the fuck out of you, okay? In good ways and in bad ways. And so for that... I sort of respect the film for sort of taking some risks, but at the same time there's a lot of content in here that seems to play it safe.
Yeah. Too safe in my opinion.
And what's weird is they play it risky with important elements of Star Wars lore, and they play it safe with the filler stuff. It's very odd, and this is what makes the movie a little uneven for me. Did you guys feel this, that some, like, after the first initial, let's say, 10, 20 minutes, the movie seemed to drag a little bit, and it was kind of going nowhere. There's what I had the most problem with is a subplot between Finn and a new character. Don't even recall her name.
Rose,
that's right. Finn and Rose subplot that just goes out on a whim. It feels to me a little like it was unnecessary, forced, and then it almost like it didn't fit in the Star Wars universe. Like it was a completely different movie, closer to Fifth Element. Though I love Fifth Element, but this is like, okay, I'm a little confused here. So there's subplots in here that I didn't quite like. So it's not a bad film, but it's one that I think is going to be very divisive, and there's a lot to talk about in spoilers that I think fuck up the lore. You're gonna
I'm
jump
sorry, I was not impressed. I was really looking forward to this.
Okay.
But I was not impressed.
So
But it was good, though. I was entertained, but then at certain aspects, it dragged on too long. I was getting kind of bored, and like these new characters they introduced, like they had no depth to them, and I wanted to find out more about these characters, but their time was cut.
Well, not only were the new characters kind of cut short a little bit, but also some of the characters that have been introduced in Force Awakens don't get the depth necessary, I think, to give us a little bit of a satisfying story here. Yeah. It almost seems like hand-waving and a complete disregard for something that's being set up. Now, obviously, we got to talk about, Carrie Fisher. She passed away, and they're going to have to find a way to incorporate that and do it in a nice way. But what I've learned and what I've read is her role is intact here. Yeah. I don't think that impacted her role here, which is surprising because they do a really good job, in my opinion, with Leia here. I think she's done justice. She has more to do. She feels like that sort of leader of the resistance as we've known her in the past. So I think certain characters really get highlights. The Rey and Luke relationship. It's said in the trailer. This isn't how you. This isn't gonna go how you think, and that is perfectly personified in their sort of relationship. And I liked it. I liked both of their performances as well. I think Rey gets a lot to do, and Luke has some interesting stuff. So for a lot of the main characters, I was happy. And one in particular, Kylo Ren, I had a problem with in Force Awakens. You know, being introduced to such a different character as your main villain or whatever. This emo thing, I think he got a lot of flack for it. But as time went on, I kind of appreciated his character more, and as I was watching, it's as something different, something unique. And I think this film really fleshes out that a little bit. So where I am on board or more willing to accept, you know, Kylo Ren's character and not just kind of dismiss him as this angry emo kid. So Joe was, would I say, disappointed?
A little bit, honestly. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Joe. There are definitely some disappointing moments in the film that I didn't expect. What about you, Alex? What did you think of this?
This movie wasn't a bad movie, and it was actually really fun. Like there's some
not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie.
No, and even I.
But when something is not at this higher level that we're kind of used to in the Star Wars lore, we're trying to figure out
how many films are they on now, and like how many of you actually enjoyed. So
prequels. Joe, I was trying to not, you know, I don't. What are those?
They've been more bad movies.
Hey, Revenge of the Sith was alright.
It's written down in history, man.
And I thought you meant like the Star Wars Holiday Special. That's how ignorant I was being. But yeah, so you know, what else?
I thought that some of the characters were really good. I liked some of the new characters. We talked a lot about before we watched this movie, General Weasley, and how we didn't
I hated that character.
You didn't like him, and in this, the kind of inexperienced, whiny, like the Kylo's interaction with him kind of worked in a way. Like I still don't want them in that situation, but it kind of worked.
It's like big brother and little brother. That's
I
basically
get what they're
little
going.
brothers.
It seems like the First Order has a lot more young blood in their ranks and
general
stuff.
rank. Yeah.
You know, obviously not counting Snoke, the Supreme Leader, who looks old as fuck. I have no idea how old this guy is, but you know, everybody around him seems kind of fucking young. So, man, it just. What's interesting, this film picks up right where the last one left off. It's literally, I think Rey's still holding the lightsaber out and then
never moved.
You know, she never moved the whole time. So what I'm expecting when you do that and you don't have this large passage of time is to continue the story in a very natural way and sort of flesh things out more instead of, oh, well, the reason why we're not going to, go into those things is because there was a time jump and we can get to that later. But here, the directions that they take with it, I think sometimes were unfocused and feels completely unnecessary. There's a whole moment in the film, I told you this subplot that goes nowhere. And if you had taken out all those scenes, I think the film probably would have been stronger.
Well, yeah, because like they made a decision.
Finn and Rose is what I'm talking about.
They made a decision to have this movie be 2.5 hours long. And then, so that obviously meant that there was stuff on the cutting room floor. They cut stuff out to make sure
this was going to be 3 hours long is what I heard.
Well,
so they had to cut stuff out.
To leave that stuff in.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that stuff there at all.
Yeah. There could have been so many different things that they could have focused on instead. Do you guys feel that it did justice to some of the older Star Wars characters?
Some of them?
Yeah, some of them, yes. But
it's difficult to talk about without spoilers, so I think we should probably just move on. And what about the visuals? Let's talk a little bit about the visuals.
I mean, it's a really good movie.
Fantastic. They're the space battles, the ground battles, that new sand planet where like red dust, salt or whatever kicks up. Like everything in the film is beautiful to look at. It's well shot, it's competent, great cinematography. John Williams is back, but honestly, I didn't really hear a lot of unique themes here. It kind of fell in the background. I actually think his Force Awakens soundtrack is better than this one. He borrows a lot from the Force Awakens soundtrack, so the new themes just kind of get disappeared if there was new themes. It's really hard to talk about without spoilers, but the established Jedi lore is in question, sort of, and it's deepened in several aspects. There's going to be tons of discussion about this, so all the Star Wars channels out there are going to have plenty of material. That's one good thing, and I'm going to watch it all because I want to know what the fuck everybody else thinks. But in certain aspects, I felt it was wrong, and wrong in many ways. And that's as much as I'll say in a non-spoiler review. And there are little moments in the film that they try to do some comedy here. The Force Awakens was surprisingly funny and lighthearted and had these genuine moments. And I pretty much laughed at every single Force Awakens joke. I thought it was well-paced, well-written. This one, like, more than half of the jokes missed.
Yeah.
Really? For you too?
I didn't appreciate most of the humor. There were some people laughing in the theater.
There was a few laughs, but there were people laughing in the theater, and I was like, Joe, what is funny about this?
I had no idea what they were laughing at either.
And it's not half the theater, and we're just jerks, because I'm usually that jerk that I'm not laughing. Yeah. But there was like 3 people like awkwardly chuckling, and it's like, oh, I guess.
And you could tell when you're supposed to laugh, and some of it was, this goofy CGI characters doing something goofy, and that doesn't work. But it's like, they try to put in moments of levity in the middle of a big action sequence or something, and it's like dotted here and there if you're looking at things, and it just doesn't work there. So the film drags a little bit, but that third act really sort of picks up some of the things that the rest of the film kind of drags its feet on. And that's when you're really getting your entertainment. It does go in some surprising directions, and we see new powers. I think I can say that, so be excited about checking out these things. Visuals, great. We really need to get into spoiler discussion. So let's go ahead and give our final verdicts.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is...
I'm ready.
You're ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go OtherJoe then, if you're ready.
Okay, so...
we just saw this thing. It's a lot to fucking process. And I have mixed feelings.
Right. So do I.
Okay.
So do I. So, like we were talking about, the humor was not really there for me.
Yeah.
Visuals were stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. The music, I couldn't really hear. Maybe they need to turn it up a bit.
A lot of explosions.
Some of these characters didn't get, like, the development they needed.
Aha, yes.
And I'm left with a lot of questions after this movie as well.
Way more yeah.
Yeah.
It answers some, though,
yeah,
right?
it does answer some, but some of them I'm like, what the hell? Like,
what the hell
I wanted
is
to know
great.
more about this. And there's a cameo that I felt was kind of no need for.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I'll talk more about that.
Spoilers,
but
okay.
Overall, I'm going to have to give this a 7 out of 10.
Wow,
It's
okay.
a good one.
Yeah.
But
I hear
these
you.
fillers kind of drag you down.
Hey, we're brave. We're giving it a rating right after we just seen it. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
I agree. I think that this movie was fun. It reminded me of a lot of other movies that have come out in the last couple of years. We were talking about Avengers 2. And it was... Avengers 2 is like a really forgettable movie.
Yeah,
It was kind of fun. You're watching
That's
it.
the one where the city is
Stuff happens and there's robots and something.
Robots.
But then you start thinking about the movie immediately after you see it, and you're like, wow, I kind of had fun watching it, but we can't even have a casual conversation about it without going,
We can pick out only major moments. And I see what you're saying. It's kind of like this film. Like, I've already forgotten what happened on that side mission casino planet.
Oh, it's burned in my mind because I hate it every second. Like, it didn't need to be there. There was a lot of ways to do it.
There were a lot of corny jokes in there.
The jokes weren't great. Some of the new characters were fine. They weren't good, though. I don't want to see them ever again. There were some old characters in this that I have more questions about, and not the good kind of questions where I'm like genuinely curious.
Like, why
it's more like
here?
why?
Why? Yeah, it's like, did you hate? Well, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't.
Did we course correct here?
Yeah.
There's a few course corrections that feel like course correct. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I thought this movie was on the normal of all movie scale. I think if you see it, you're not going to be disappointed. I think it's a 7. If we're talking about, we had just recently watched episode 4, 5, and 6 today.
Yeah,
And
we watched them all.
If we're like
except
on
for the prequels.
if we're on that scale, I mean, this movie could be like a 5.5 or 6 because it just does not. It doesn't have the weight of the original trilogy. It doesn't have the characters that I genuinely care about. It was fun. It's just I just don't think it's in the same league.
Okay, well, what's your rating on the scale of everything?
Oh,
not
7.
the scale of. Oh, okay,
7.
okay.
Yeah,
Because I thought you said 5 or 6.
Star Wars.
But in the realm of Star Wars, I guess. But we're just putting a general rating on it, which is 7 out of 10. And honestly, guys, that's where I'm at. I thought about it as I was. Listening to these guys. And that was actually the number I was coming out of the theater with. I have mixed feelings about the movie, and I didn't have mixed feelings about Force Awakens. I absolutely loved it. I came out glowing. The only reason why I didn't give Force Awakens a 9, where I feel like sometimes it deserves it upon rewatching it many times, is it lacks some of the originality because it borrows so much from the A New Hope. And other than that, then it probably would achieve a 9. And I was just excited and hopeful for resolutions of all these storylines. Yeah. And we get some questions answered here, and those questions are not answered satisfyingly, or the answer that we are given is disappointing. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, maybe this stuff isn't as deep as we hoped. And it sort of crushes our hopes in some areas, but yet opens a few interesting doors in another area. Let me liken it to, you just crushed 3 things and you opened 1 door. That's kind of how I feel about, and we can talk about it more in spoilers. Well directed, though from this I don't really see how the director, Rian Johnson, can somehow earn a whole new trilogy just off of this film. I think that's a little presumptuous, a little bit. I can almost hint a desperation from Disney a little bit that they need to keep up the Star Wars stuff. So they're, and I read he didn't even have a pitch. His pitch was like, as they were wrapping up productions on this, was like, hey, doesn't it kind of suck? We have to stop, and I'd love to do more of these, and we should just go to a new corner of the galaxy and check things out and in the star. And they said yes to that. There was actually no real, like, here's what I want to do. I'm going to do this and this and this, and I've always wanted to do it. No.
Brainstorming?
He was brainstorming out loud, and they gave him a new trilogy. This is what I read. Directly from him. He said that.
Let's just start pitching ideas.
Right. And so parts of this film kind of reveal a little bit of that mentality in the Star Wars universe in Disney's hands. Some of the playing it safe. Some of the, we got to get this film out and wrap these stories up because we're going to go on and start some new stories. So there's a lot of that feeling. So 7 out of 10 overall. An entertaining movie, or one that we're definitely going to see again. I mean, we've already got tickets to watch it a second time, so we can give you an even better spoiler section. But yeah, surprising in many ways. Good and bad. So mixed. But the reason why it's not 5, 6, 4 mixed is because of the competent, directing, storytelling, dialogue, and stuff like that, and acting. So, all right, guys, that's it. So stay tuned for our spoilers video, which is going to be a separate video because there's lots to talk about. And Star Wars The Last Jedi, right? Go out and see it. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, I am so excited to see your opinion because I think this is probably the most divisive and mixed Star Wars film that has been released. So. All right? So, besides the prequels. So we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.